Welcome back to TYT Sports. Is this the first Pluto of 2017? It is not. Second Pluto of 2017.
It's the most important. The second is always the most important.
Obviously.
Second time
It's
is always most important.
Redux, get a second shot. So welcome back to the Pluto Show if you're watching on YouTube, which you'll see on Thursday's clips. Make sure to check them out. See us on Facebook. Some plugs in the beginning. Why not? That's Francis Maxwell, and I am Jason Rubin. And the first picture you see is Le'Veon Bell. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take on the Kansas City Chief. Chief, just one.
Just one of them.
Specifically, just one of them.
Making it even a fail.
The Kansas City Chiefs this weekend in the NFL Divisional Round Playoffs. And ahead of this game, Le'Veon Bell made a sharp comparison to that of one of the best stars in the NBA, Steph Curry. We'll go right into his words. Le'Veon Bell says he thinks, "I'm changing the game." Running back told Bleacher Report. In that sense, I'm what Steph Curry is to basketball. Don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily think Steph Curry is the best basketball player, but he changed the game so he's going to always go down as being remembered. Now everyone wants to shoot the three and shoot it from deep. What Bell is referring to is his patience. Is there a more patient running back in the history of the league? Well, at least in the last 10 years, no. If you watch Bell, it's in a Steph Curry-esque way, a little bit like ballet. People kind of make fun of that reference because they think like, oh, do basketball players and football players? A lot of them do take dance classes to work on their footwork. Francis, when you watch someone like Le'Veon Bell play, what is it that stands out to you? Is it the athleticism, the speed, the patience, the burst, the pass catching?
The fluidity of it all. It doesn't look like he's ever uncoordinated at times. And that doesn't mean that everyone who is a running back in the NFL looks that way. But if you're looking at some of the best running backs like Adrian Peterson, right? And this guy is remarkably athletic. And he, in his prime, would just steam train by people, and he would never look like he could be caught. By using Adrian Peterson and then going into Le'Veon Bell, I'm not going to say that Adrian Peterson is not in that category. He is a historic, soon-to-be, I'm sure when he retires, Hall of Famer.
Yes.
But Le'Veon Bell does things in a way that makes me stop and makes me think, how is that guy doing that? Like, how is his body able and willing to allow him to do that? He's so remarkable. He's so fluid. And it is in a way that the same vein that Steph Curry makes you stop and think. Like, Steph Curry's jump shot doesn't use his legs. Not anywhere. The way you're taught in basketball is you need to use your legs. You need to get low, you need to get your power. But he uses his wrist and all his upper body, which makes him so hard to guard because when people are trying to defend against Steph Curry, there's no time where you can say, all right, he's setting up. He just releases. His release is so fast. It's so unguardable.
Yes.
That's the way I'd say it, Le'Veon Bell is. He's unguardable.
And what's so interesting about you're right on all accounts there. When you watch someone like Bell play, first of all, his numbers were through the roof. And it's easy to look at numbers on paper because when you compare Bell and David Johnson's numbers, they're pretty much identical. David Johnson was spearheaded towards his 1,000 rushing yard season and is a tremendous running back, but I actually believe Le'Veon Bell's on a different plane. And so also than that of Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke, a rookie, but the main point here being is all the coaches have agreed with this. His former, not teammate, but they both played at Michigan State, so friend Draymond Green agrees with this as well. Draymond Green had this to say about Bell. This was his words, his quote, I should say. "That patience he has as a runner has never been seen before," Green told Bleacher Report. "You had Barry Sanders, who shook you out of your socks quick as grease. You had the bus, Jerome Bettis, and his power running. You have super fast runners, but a runner with patience he has, I mean, I don't know if we've ever seen that. He's a special runner who's definitely transcending the game, and it's fun to watch." And lastly, Chief Andy Reid, coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, had this to say about his opponent. "It's a unique style, one that he's kind of created, and the most patient running back that he's ever seen." So a lot of hat tips, a lot of H/T's to L/V.
I thought that was like half time.
No, hat tip.
A lot of
Do you know that? That's what it stands for, hat tip too.
You learn something new every day.
Not
You kids and your lingo.
These
This diving thing.
Do you know who taught me that?
Who?
Do you know Alonzo Duralde?
Wow.
TYT.
Interesting.
What's the flick? Yes.
But yeah, they're all right in all accords. It's because there's certain athletes that come around that do things that makes you stop, and there's one in every single sport, and that they all come around in their own way. Like so, when Cristiano Ronaldo came around in sports, you're like, wow, that guy's athletically so remarkable, but he does it in a way that makes you think, no one can really compare to that guy. But that doesn't mean that he's better than Lionel Messi, because Lionel Messi does it in his own way. There's no, like, this is something that I was thinking about the other day. There's no two people put on this earth to be the exact same, right? So everyone has their own path towards greatness. And I think that's something that's really aspiring. And I'll tell you, this is so on a tangent, weird, that you're going to think, what have you been smoking today, Francis? And I'll tell you later, because it's legal. I'm joking, I never smoked anything. You have Viola Davis going up for accept an award, right? And she's talking about how the arts has inspired her, right? This is just so TYT Sports-esque the way we go off on these tangents. Accepting it on the arts and all the things that's made her great. And then you have Casey Affleck go up and accept it. And I read an article about Casey Affleck.
They both have beards. No, I'm just kidding.
Casey Affleck basically stated that he doesn't really like acting. That it's just something that he does. You know, it's just something that he does as a day job, like a plumber. But he's accepting the same award in the same vein as Viola Davis, but he did it in his own way. So it's just, it had me thinking, it's like...
Which one's Le'Veon Bell and which one's Steph Curry?
I don't know. They're all in their own vein. They're all going in their own path to greatness.
They both have V in their name, so
All right,
to Le'Veon
I can see
Bell.
that. So my overall point, to tie this whole weird thing back together, is that it doesn't matter which way you get there. You can perfect the sport whatever way you want. You can be athletically great, but work on other things of your game. But as long as you're great, you can be great in your own way. Steph Curry was at a disadvantage as so many other players that are in his position, but he made parts of his game so great that you're always going to remember him. Le'Veon Bell is another athletic genius, but at the same time, you're going to remember him because, as you mentioned, he's patient. He picks his moments, and he's so hard to guard that makes him in his own league.
It's such a unique style of running because you only have, an entire front seven trying to bash your skull in at full speed. While you're kind of like tiptoeing towards the line of scrimmage, right? Being like, I'm going to wait for my moment, sidestepping, finding the hole at the right point, innuendos, haha, funny comment section, and then bursting right through it for a touchdown, which he did against the Steelers played the Dolphins in the wild card playoff, and he did that on his touchdown run, to which it's what Chris Paul does in the NBA. It's slowing down time, and it's remarkable to watch.
And do you know what makes the Steelers even more petrifying is that they have this in their arsenal, and then they have, the best receiver in the league. So the Steelers are definitely in for a shout for the Super Bowl.
Will they beat the Chief?
If they go with Jason Rubin's Chief and win, I think they'll win. Because if you're just going to put out one guy, I think they've got a good chance.
If that one guy is Justin Houston, though.
I mean, I'm rooting for the Kansas City. Let me pick that out. I'm rooting for the Kansas City. You're making me say them in one person. Jesus Christ. I'm rooting for Kansas City because they are a team that came into this season that people knew were good, but you wouldn't expect them to go on and be Super Bowl contenders. But I think that the Steelers will be too much for them. I think they've got too much offensive firepower.
Look at that.
We just did a full clip on Le'Veon Bell changing the game. You can't end the clip by being like, but they're going to lose. It's just kind of counterintuitive, is it not?
It's a good Chiefs defense.
It is.
But not if they only put out one guy. Chief.